Welcome back to the channel, guys. This video is going to be about Keynote. So it's going to be a complete Keynote tutorial where I'm going to be showing you every single thing that you need to create nice animated presentations. I'm going to open a simple animated presentation to show you guys that what you can expect to learn from this video. We can see, I'm going to press spacebar and you see the animated presentation with the sound effects. These are some presentation that you can expect to build after watching this video. Let's see how we can create a Keynote project. Okay, so let's open Keynote. I'm gonna click on Keynote, and this is what you see when you start a Keynote for the first time. You can create a new document by clicking on this new document button, or you can go to the menu bar and click on File and click on New. Now in this page, you get to choose whether you want to use a standard or a wide presentation. Usually the wide would be used because the screen size on a lot of computers. So I'll go for a wide, and what we want to choose is a simple template. So I'll click on the wide and click on choose. Now let's take a look at Keynote Interface. As usual, we have a menu bar where we have a file menu, edit, insert, slide, format, and so on. On the left, we have this sidebar where we can see all of our slides for this project. We have a zoom level where we can zoom into 150% or 400%, or we can go to fit slide. Okay. Now next we have a button to add a new slide to the project. So I click on that. Depending on the template that you choose, you will have some options. You can go for a blank, or you can have these templates as well. For example, if you want to create some sort of like a bullet points, you can select this one. Here you can type a title, or here you have a bullet. I'm going to right click and click on delete to delete that slide. Next on the toolbar, we have a play button. If I click on that, it's going to actually show me how it's going to present. Keynote Live is another feature that we can use to present slideshow to the viewers, whether they are on a Mac, iOS, or even on the web. Let's cancel it out. Next, we have some table, charts, text, shapes, media, comments. We'll talk about these in details. Just briefly, I'm going to show you tables. So here you can generate tables. You have charts. You can click on text to insert text on the slide. I'm going to press delete key to delete that. We have some built-in shapes like objects. We have some animals, nature, food. We also have some media options. We can bring in photos, image gallery, movies, music, and so on. We have some comments where you can write some comments on your slide. Let's click on delete. Next, we have a collaboration. Collaboration is basically if you are working on a project where a lot of people want to work on it, not just you, then you can create a link which you can share via email, message, or just send them a link, airdrop, or even do a simulator. Then people can click on that link and join you to collaborate on this project. We have some format, animate, and document options here as well, where you can click on anywhere, and then this format or slide layout will change accordingly. So if I click on this text box, you see the format has been changed according to the selection that I have. I can change the styles here. We have a text option. We can have arrange option. We'll talk about these in details down the road. We have some animation where you can add effects for build in, build out, and even for actions. A document is basically giving you some information about your project, what theme you're using, or slideshow settings. We can have slide size as well. So remember, when we started this project, we choose widescreen, which had a 16:9 ratio. You can have a standard ratio by 4:3 as well. You can change that for the slideshow right here. I'm going to go back to widescreen. Also, you have an option to add a password. So if somebody want to open this project, they're going to have to type the password as well. So that was a basic introduction to Keynote interface and some of the options. Let me show you the common workflow in Keynote. For example, if you want to delete any object, click on that and that will be highlighted, and you will notice the format option has been changed according to the selection. Then press delete to delete, click, and then you want to copy that, press Command C and then Command V to copy that. Okay, let's delete that as well. Let's delete this as well. Okay, now we have a plain, page where we can work. The first thing I want to show you is this text option. I'm going to click on that and it's going to add a text box on the canvas or on the slide. Now I can click and hold the mouse button down and I can move this around. One thing we can do here is I'm going to go to view and I would like to click on zoom and then click on fit slide. That way it's going to just, zoom out a bit. Now we can see the whole slide. Now this is a text box and you see we take our cursor here and it gives me different arrow. I can click and expand this. Okay, I can click in the middle and move this around. So I would like to keep that right on the top and I want to double click on the text. Once I double click, my cursor changes. Now I can start typing. So I can say, what are strings in Python? Now the reason why I'm writing this Python is because I have a full-fledged boot camp for Python on Udemy and Skillshare. I'll drop a link for that course under the description of this video. So if you want to learn Python, have a look at that course. You will like it. Okay, so I'm going to click out and that will deselect that object. Now let's just say we have a multiple text box. I'm going to click on a text and here I will say, what are lists in Python? Now I'm going to click on this. Now when I click on this, it will deselect the other one, the current selection, and it will select the one you are clicking on. And if you are clicking on an empty space on a slide, it will deselect everything. So text is very simple. I'm going to select that and press delete. Let's select this and press delete as well. Now we know how we can work with text. Now I'm going to create another text and I'm going to move this on the top and I'm going to click on the text, actually double click and type, what are Boolean in Python? Okay, let's click out. Now if I click on that, you see the format options that we receive. So here we have a style, text and arrange. Now I'm going to click on that and then expand this text box and put in the middle. Now our text is aligned in the center. Now what if we want to start from the left or align it to the right? So I'm gonna go click on text here and here we have alignment options. Right now it's in the center. I'm clicking on this left and then clicking on right. So you see we have these options in the text. So anything related to text you want to work on, it will be in a format and then text. Here we have some styles as well, title small, subtitle, and so on. Now if you have used Microsoft Word or Pages, I've created a Pages tutorial on my channel. Take a look if you want to learn everything about Pages. So here if I click on title, as you can see the text changed and now it's using a style title. Now there are advanced things that we can do is we can create our own style and then we can save them for later use. We'll talk about that in a second, but now as you can see you can change the titles, you can go to the body, you can change to the caption red. So we'll leave that as a caption red and let's talk about other options. So here we can change font, we can make it bold, italic, or we have some condensed black option. So I'll leave that as bold. We have a font size, we can increase or decrease the font size here. Now one thing I would like to say is if you change any properties here for the text, you see the update button appear. That means it's saying that, hey, you have choose the caption red, but it's in original condition. You have modified the properties. What would you like to do with that? So let's just say I will change the font style to actually the color to green, or we'll just say red, or we can use this this color. Okay, I'll leave that this color. Now I'm going to change the alignment to, let's just keep it center. Also here we have some options where you can align text to the middle of the cell, or shape, or you can align on the top of the cell. So if I click on that, it's going to align to the top, but this has a very a constraint width and height. That's why it's not showing you what it's doing. So we'll leave that in the center for now. Here we have indentation options that you can do. So let me just keep that 0. Now here we have some spacing. So if I press enter and say what are strings in Python, now the space between the top line and the bottom line is about let's just say 1. If I just increase this spacing option, now you can see we have a lot more space between these two lines. So here we have an option for at least, or exactly, or between. So I'll do like exactly, and I would like to click on this button. Still doesn't work. We'll show that in a second, but let's keep that as line. Now we have a before paragraph or after paragraph. You can see if there is a paragraph or after paragraph, you can increase the spacing there as well. So I'll just decrease that to 0. Now we have an options for bullets and numbers. Simple text editing, in Microsoft Word or any text editor software will have these options, bullet and list. I will select something like numbers, and you see the numbers appears. So if I double click in text bar, which converts that to editing mode, and then I can start typing. So I have this number 3 type, number 4 type. Okay, so we have numbers and bullets. Here are some options as well for those. We'll change the text color, or actually the number color here. So you can see, you can change the number color. Here we have some options. Okay, so it's more like that. It's a simple text editing that you can try it out, and you can find out what are these options. And we don't want to spend a lot of time on this. Now here we're going to talk about styles. Styles are like some pre-filled styles for you. So if I click on this, it will convert the whole text bar to this style. Click on this, it will convert to this. Click on this, click on this. And we have some, extra shapes here that we can create our own style, and click on plus button, and that will be saved for this project. And anytime you want to make a text box for that, you can just select this style. Now, I would like to go back a bit, and I would like to clear out these numbers. I want to show you how you can create your own text styles. Okay, so here we have numbers. I'm just going to click on none. Alright, now here it says caption red was used, but it's been modified. Now I want to save this style. Maybe I want to have some sort of a background color there as well. So I go to style, and I'll say, hey, I want a color, and I would like to have some sort of like this color. And this is the settings that I want to save for all the headers that I'm going to be using. So I'm just going to increase the size here, guys, and that's it. So this is going to be the slide header, and that's going to be the style. Or we can go and change the color of the text to a bit lighter. I'm not sure which is going to look good, but I guess white would look much better. All right, so white is much better. I'm going to increase the size a bit for the header. Yep, that looks much better now. Okay, so select this, and I would like to create this style for this project. So click on this arrow button, and I will click on paragraph style plus button, and it creates a new style for us. I will say custom header. Okay, enter, and now we have a new style. Now I'm going to delete this, or actually leave this. We'll create new text, and I'm gonna type here to, let's just say, what is a variable in Python. Okay, now I would like to click on this and go here, and I will click on this custom header, and that makes the text style for this. It makes it like a white color with the same font size, with the same indentation options, line spacing. But one thing that we didn't save, background color. So for that, we're going to go to styles, and I would like to click on this and go to the next and click on plus. Here we have our custom style. It includes the text styling as well. So I'm gonna go and select this, go here, and then click on this, and that becomes, the same thing. Now, text is a different styles that you can, create your own paragraph styles. But style is like overall with the background and the font style and some border options that you can create, a shadow. You can have a drop shadow there as well. So you go and create this style, and then it go back to what it was. So that covers pretty much creating your custom text style and then style as well. So I'm gonna delete this. Now we are going to create another table. So I click on table, and here we have an arrows. We can see different templates for us to use. So what I would like to use is this one. Okay, now that makes a table for me, and then I'll have all these rows and columns where I can type it in. Now I'm gonna click on this, and I'll say Boolean, okay, and I'll type numbers, strings, lists, dictionaries. Okay, now here I would like to select everything, and then right click, and I would say merge cell. Okay, because I want to type some text about these strings. So select all, merge cell, select all, merge cell, all, merge cell. And here I can say numbers or data type in Python. Okay, and then I would say I'll just double click on this, select everything, Command C to copy, and then paste that here, and paste that here. So I'll change the number to, let's just say, strings, and I'll change this to list. And then we have a dictionaries in Python as well. So I'm gonna change this to dictionaries. Now this is different, okay? We have a different style here. So I'd like to click on this, go to table, and then probably go here. And then here we have two different colors, and I'd like to select this one and then change the color to this one, okay? And I'll select this, right click, and merge this as well. And then I'll go and change the color to, let's just say, white. Now it was supposed to be gray. That looks, what is this one? I'm going to, yep, that's the current fill, which is this. So I'll select this and do a fill here. I'm not sure, guys, but I'll just leave that as gray here for now. Alright, so here we type Boolean or data type in Python. Now this is how you create tables. Now let's talk about, we have completed a table. Let's take a look at some of the options available for a table. So once you create a table, obviously you know now how you can choose the template. Now I've shown you how you can select the columns and rows and do a merge or delete or add headers below. So let's start with the table. The table, here we have some templates. We can even change this. You can see we can change right now. I'm going to, press Command Z to undo. Let's select the table. Now these are the styles that you can create your own custom style as well. So I would like to go to this row and go to text, and I would like to change the color of the text to black. Okay, yeah, that looks alright. Now the background color would be here, which I'm trying to find what is this color actually what is this color. So I'm going to use this default color. Nah, I can't really get that, so I'm gonna just click and then can't get that. So click on this arrow button, click on this, and then here we have a eyedropper. Click on that and then select this one, which makes this color, and it basically creates this one. Now here it's a bold. We go to text, and I'm gonna change that bold to, let's just say, medium or regular. Okay, now perfectly fine. Now we created a table, we modified this. Now I would like to save this style, and I want to save this. So let's select it, go to table, click on this arrow button, and on the empty table style, click on plus button. And now you can see we have this table where I can always come back and click on this to, select or make the table this style. We have some header and footer options, guys. So here we have a header and footers. I'm gonna just make that 0 so we don't have left column. Here we have a top header where it says 1. I can make it 0, and that's basically makes this makes this the same style. And here we can see we actually modified this, so we can override this letter, and then I can say clear override and apply style. Okay, now it basically override this style. We can define a table name by checking this on. Rows. So if I increase the rows, guys, you can see it's increasing. You can increase the columns if you want by going here into columns and increasing the columns. Let's just put it back. And then we have a table font size. You can increase the size by clicking on this bigger A and decrease the size by clicking on this smaller A. Now, outlines are pretty simple options. You want to define some outlines, you can do that as well. And once you select the outline, you get to choose a color for that and size for that. It's up to you. There's a lot of modification available. I would like to keep that to none. Alright, so here's some more options about tables, guys. Cell is basically gives you a cell-based options, depending a color, gradient. We'll talk about this in a second, but here we have some options. You can, have a border for that, or this border, or this border, or this bottom border, or you can have this, or rectangular border, or you can have none. Alright, so here we can select the border width as well that you can change or select, or define the color as well. So yeah, options are there. Try it out and you will basically find out what they do. Text similarly gives you a lot of text options. Arrange is like in the cell, if I make the position a bit left, then it will just move the table to the left, or Y is like up and down, and X is like horizontally. Size, you can increase the size and decrease the size as well. Rotation are there as well if you want to define an angle. Select the whole table and define the angle, or you can flip it as well. Now we will talk about this animation later, but these are the options available in table. Now I modified some text here because I would like to use this later on in one of my videos. Now, how do we add another slide? I'm going to click on this plus button and it drops down this model, which gives me some options to select from. I can select this title center, or this template for photo on the right, and then bullets and the title, or just bullet points, codes, blank, or just a photo. Now, I would like to create a blank, so I'll click on blank. Now we have empty slide and we can take a look at some graphs now. I'm going to click on graph. It has 3 options: 2D graphs, 3D, or interactive graphs. Now this is a bit advanced. If you want to use this, you need to have some sort of data, but I'll quickly show you how you can use 2D graphs. So I'll click on this, the first one, the bar chart, and then there we go. We have some, bar chart. Now, the good thing about this, it needs some data. So they have given us some sample data. If I click on this edit graph data, and here we have rows and columns spreadsheet. So if I change this region 1, which has the color of blue, and I would like to change this to, let's just say, YouTube, and I would say Udemy. And then I will just save this, and then I'll change the month name to, for example, January, and then February, March, April. Okay, now you can see that things are getting updated. Also the data, I'll say in January I have about 50 students on YouTube, or I would say 100 students on Udemy, and then here 50 for Udemy, and then 70 for YouTube. And now as you can see, the graph is actually taking your data from here and actually changing these bar charts. So this is cool. All these graphs will require some data from you. So I'll click on this, we'll go to the format, and we'll take a look at some of the format options available. I'll click on graph, and here you can change some styles as well. You can have this style or this style. Also, you have some options for defining a title or a legend. We defined a legend here. That's legend there, and then we need to turn it on to actually see that legend. Also, we have a border option where you can turn on border, turn off border. So leave the legend on, and we can change the style, font style for our graph. Graph colors are available here. Okay, rounded corners, yeah, we can do some rounded corners here, which makes the graph look nicer. And then here's an option, I just want to have a rounded corners on the top. See, it gives you lots and lots of options. Now we have some gaps between columns. So here we have a lesser gap, and then we have this bigger gap here to say it's between columns or between sets. So click on edit graph data, and here we have sets. So if we take a look at the February, this is one set, one column is one set. And then we have this as our columns. So I'm gonna change the between set so we can read it better. Next, we go and take a look at some background and border style. We can have a gradient or color fill there, and also we have some shadow options. You can have like a individual shadow for these lines, or a grouped shadow. It's up to you. Options are pretty much here, and then you can also change this to 2D bar, 2D stack, or 2D line charts. Okay, so data is there, your configurations are there. You can even go and change the graph directly here. Okay, so here we have like 30%, 60%. Click on edit data. The data is here. Okay, all you gotta make sure that your data is actually following the Keynote standards, and that's about it. Let's close the data bar. And then there's a lot of interactive charts as well. So here on the presentation, you can see if it's like April or March or February or January. You can have these interactive charts, and then all the charts that I'm selecting from here are available here as well. Okay, sorry, graphs, so available here as well, 3D, interactive, and 2D. Okay, when you talk about this, it gives you another graph, and then I'm gonna just delete that graph, and here we have edit graph data, and now you can see this graph will require some data here. So we have a region. I can add another region there if I want to, and also all the months and their data is here as well. Okay, so this is cool. Now every graph will have some different different properties that you can change. So here we have axis, y-axis, and value y-axis, so you can change a lot of stuff here. I'm not gonna go into detail because this video is going to be very long if we talk about every single option, but just to show you that you can change and modify data here. Basically read and you will know what it's doing. Arrange is there as well. Like I'll talk about that with the text when we have animate and document, we'll talk about later. So these are the graphs, guys, and then we get to the shapes. Shapes are very, very simple. I will start by creating a rectangle here. I will click and hold the mouse button down and move it here, and I will select one of the vertex actually from the corner and make this bigger. Okay, so select it, and here we have vertices, and then if I hover over, my cursor changes, which means that I can click and hold the mouse button down and increase the width here. From the corner, I can do width and height both at the same time. Now if I just double click on this, okay, and it will give me this arrow in the middle, and I can start typing. Okay, few shortcuts that I want to show you here with shapes. So if I select the shape, I take my cursor here and I hover over, and here you can see that cursor is like horizontal. If I press the command key, it changes. Now if I click and move, it just increases size from the one side. Okay, but if I hold the option key and I click and then move, it changes the width from the both side. Okay, you see it's pressing the option key, what effects it get. Now when I press the command key, it let me rotate the shape. Okay, as you can see how easy is this to change rotation. Let's take a look at what are other shapes available in Keynote. I'm going to click on shape, and here I have a basic shapes, animal shape, nature, food, symbol, education, art, and so on. So these are basically pre-built shapes for you to use. For science, I'll select this one. I'll make this bigger, and I can change the color like that. Okay, I can even have a gradient if I want to. And then I have the green color and then this different color. Okay, so these are like common option goes for every single object. Now what if you want to create your own shape? Click on the shape button, and then here we have a pen tool. Click on that, and then you can start drawing. I'll try to create some weird rectangle, which won't be a rectangle but just a shape. Now before I move to clicking outside, you notice that we have some round vertices as well. So keep the pen line on, click, and then move. You see, you can create some round circle. Now what if you want to create your own vertex? You press the option key, and you can create your own vertex. Click, and then you can bring it down from here. You can have another vertex here, you can have another vertex here, and then you can click, and then click here. Okay, so pressing the option key will let you create a vertex, and then if you double click on the vertex, it will make a straight rectangular vertex, which makes it like a straight line. So I'm just gonna take this here, and I would like double click, and that makes it a straight line between this rectangle vertex and then rectangle vertex. Okay, now we have created our shape. I can go and create a color field for this and change the color here. So you can see we can create pretty much any kind of shape that we want using this pen tool in Keynote. Now this is good. I would like to show you one more thing. If I go to the animation tab, click on this, and here we have something called line draw. Okay, as you can see, nice. So you can see how cool is this. When you create your own custom shape, it actually animates really nicely. We come to the animation section in a second, but we've covered these options first. So these are the options available in shape. Let's go next to media. Media is pretty similar. If you've used any program on your computer, you can bring in photos, image gallery, movies, music, record audio, or choose something. Or if your iPhone or iPad is connected to the same Wi-Fi, you will see these two options as well. So my iPhone X is connected to the same Wi-Fi. I can see, hey, I can take a photo from my phone, and that will directly send it to this project. I can scan document from my phone as well, so I can do that similarly with iPad as well. But if you don't have iPhone or iPad connected to the same Wi-Fi, you might not see these options. So let's bring in some photos. I click on this photo button, that opens up this, and here I have some photos. If I wish I would have some photos, I have music, but not the photo actually. Now to bring in the photo, not from this Apple's photo application, but from the Finder, you can click on media and click on choose, and that will give you a Finder, and I will go to a drive. I'll go to YouTube videos and go to thumbnail, and I would like to bring in this Angular thumbnail. Now just to mention guys, I have a full-fledged course on Angular 8 on Udemy. I'll drop a link for that in the description. So there you go guys, we have a photo. I can use these vertices to increase and decrease the size as well. Let's delete it. Press Ctrl Z to bring it back. Now in terms of photos, you can see we have some border options that you can use. We can have a drop shadow. You have an opacity if you want to increase or decrease the size. We have some image options where you can replace this image. You can edit mask. A mask is something that it will mask your photo, and you just see whatever comes inside your mask. So here, if I click on this crop mask, then it will just get rid of the other parts of the photo outside. So click on done. That's gone as well. You have instant alpha that you can choose. We have some exposure that you can give. You have some saturation. You have enhance button, which automatically detects the color and enhances your photo. You can give a description as well. Arrange, we talk about that in a second. Now here we have Angular photo. Okay, I would like to bring in another photo to my project. I'll click on this choose, and then select this JavaScript probably. Yep, JavaScript. This is a big photo, so I'm just gonna decrease the size. Okay, now for example, on your slides you might have some overlapping objects. So here this JavaScript is on the top of this Angular photo. How do I bring up this Angular 8 photo? So for that, I'll have to select an object, go to arrange, and then here we have some options. If you want to send it to backwards, you can put it to the front, or you have a backward or forward as well. I'm going to click on this front button, and that will bring this to the front. If I select this, I'll bring this front again. I'll select this, I can bring this front again. So either you go and then click on this back, which makes a previous object to the front, or you can go to the object that you want to bring it from and click on front. There's some alignment options where you can align to the center, to the slide. You have some size you can change from here if you want to be specific and choose the pixels with width and height, not just drag and drop things. You have a position where you want to position your object, a rotation for your photo. I'll press Command Z to undo. I can lock the photo right there. So these are like a range of options where it works on the text as well, or it works on any kind of object that you have in your Keynote slide. In terms of your movies, you can even bring in movies from your computer, from your Mac. You can have image gallery that you can choose to put some images to it. So let's just get rid of this JavaScript photo and then Angular photo. We have an image gallery. I'll click on this button here, which lets me select some images for this. So I'll click on this photo, click on Angular one, click on Git, not PSD, a JPEG. And then we have this one. I'm clicking on open, and it's going to bring in all the photos. And now if I just preview this slide, I can click and then it will just change the photo. All right, now here we have some gallery. I would like to animate these, so I'll click on this and we go add actions, and I'll say move it probably. Yes, that's right. Action is like change. I can change it to, let's just say fade and move. Okay, this is how it's going to show the gallery now. You want to change the size, you can do that. So if your photos are not properly aligned, so you can go and change the format, go to the gallery and change the photo, bring it down, bring it up. So if I want to have an Angular template on the top, so I can just make it on the top. Now the first one is the Angular, and then the YouTube and the type speed and the Git alias. Okay, so this is a gallery that we have. Now simply we have a comments where you can type a comments about any object in your Keynote. Now this covers pretty much all the basics of creating objects in Keynote. Let's take a look at some of the transition and animation in Keynote. I'm going to get rid of this, and I would like to start by defining some shapes. So I'll go to shape and I will select, for example, this shape. Let's make it bigger. And now I would like to change some transition for this. So we're going to go to Animate tab. So Animate tab has three things: build in, action, and build out. Now build in is basically an entry action. When you want this to appear, this is the action, or this effect will appear. Action is like when you want to perform any action, and instead of you moving this out, you want to have some sort of action for this. We have a build out. So this action is basically going to make this object disappear from the slide. Let's start by build in. I'm going to click on add effect. Now depending on the object that you selected, you will see some recent effects, appears and move, which has appear, blur, compress. We have a flip and spin and scale effects. We have some special effects from Keynote. Now we'll start by creating this appear effect, and I will click on preview. Now this is very simple. It's just gonna make it appear. Click on change, and let's try blur. Now you see the difference in an effect. We have a compress, we have a drift. Now to preview that effect, instead of applying it, we can simply click on this preview button, which is next to the text for that effect. So we say drop, preview, and this is gonna look. Fade and move, scale, fly in, and we're gonna take a look at some special ones now. I'm gonna click on preview, blast, bouncy. Now one more thing we can do here is the duration and direction for your effect. I'm actually going to increase that to 1.5 seconds. Let's appear it. Now it's a bit slower, and then we can see what it's gonna look like. So yep, we have a blast, bouncy. You see this effect? That's a nice one. We have fireworks. We have lens flare effect. Nice. Now these are just the effects. Now when I select this, you will have some sort of an text delivery object as well if it was a text. So you can try out different things for your different effects. Now let's start with the text now. I can just create a text box here, and I'm going to say sample text. Okay. Now because we have a text, it's going to have a special effect, which would be typewriter. So you won't see this typewriter for your shape. So I'm going to create a shape here, for example this one, and if I click on add an effect, I have a typewriter, but it doesn't really have any effect on it because it's not a text. But if I go and let's just do a bit of more sample text here, and I'm going to increase the size for this. Alright, now if I apply add an effect to typewriter, now you see the effect that we have is a typewriter. Now I would like to show you a couple of more effects for your text. Click on change, and then you have some sort of similar kind of thing like swoosh, spin. I like the typewriter one, so I'm going to keep that typewriter. And while this gets typed, I would like to have some sort of sound effect there as well. I'm going to go to media and click on music, and I will have an effect typing. Okay, it doesn't really appear in the library, but I do have that in the Finder. So I'm actually gonna copy that and then press Command V here. So now that's the sound effect that we have here. Now I'm gonna click on this play button, and then you see the effect happen. So while it was typing, I have this text. Now it may have some different effects that you can apply in the middle. For example, the text is there, you have a typewriter. Now I'm going to add another effect to say, hey, can you just bounce it for a second? Now once it's bouncing, then we can have another action, clicking on add action, and say, hey, can you do a pop here? So now we have 3 effects for this same text. So built-in is there for typewriter, and then we have 3 multiple actions. I click on show actions, and I see all the actions that are available here for this. It has a pop now. So I'm going to click on play to see how it looks like. Okay, now you notice that for some reason this sound effect is playing with the text. Now how it's happening, you see a button at the bottom right, build order. Now build order is a dialog box which actually shows us how your effect is going to perform. For example, we have this DNA typewriter effect. I'm actually going to get rid of that because this applies to this and it's not a text. So here we have a typewriter. I would like to play it. Okay. Now before, the typing on computer audio was playing with this text. Now I'm gonna remove that to number 2. Now we play it, and now the text happening. Then I press spacebar or click to hear that effect, and then it's a bounce and a pop. Now you can see all the effects and actions as well. For example, you want this sound effect to be played with this first, so you click and you move it up and then you let it go. Now if I click on that, it says after build 1. Okay, so still let's preview. There's a text and then the sound effect. But what if I select this one and I click on with build 1? Okay, that means this sound effect will play with the number 1 effect. So we'll play, and now we have that typing effect for our slide. Next, we have different effects for this, and those are playing. When I click on it, it says starts with on click. Okay, either you press spacebar or you click on the mouse. That's what that happens. But I would like to do move this to number 3 and select the 4 and say it's after build 3. I'll check this to, let's just say here, click here, and then this and this. I would like to build after previous one. Okay, so it's gonna build after 2, and this is gonna build after 3. So this is how you can create effects for your text. The build order will show you everything about your project. Let's close this. Now let's work a bit of on an image. Now I'm gonna copy and paste an image here. It's a Python logo, and I would like this to appear. So I'm just gonna get rid of that. Now this is automatically having this effect. Okay, if I go here, it has a transition of pop. Okay, so we'll leave that as a pop. And also when I play this, I press spacebar and it does that effect pop. Now I would like to have this automatically done, so I would like to go and change the first of all duration, and then I'll click on build order. There's only one build order, and I'm going to click on this after transition. So this is going to play automatically now. So it's not gonna ask me for clicking. I played and it automatically comes up as pop. I don't have to click or press spacebar. That's done. But during this pop, I would like to have a sound effect. So I can have that sound effect called circle appear. Go to music. I'm gonna search for that, and that's the one. Click on it. And then here I have the sound effect. Now it is playing on click. So I would like to change this to with build 1. Okay, then it moves together now. So if I play, and there you go, that's the effect. Now this is a bit long, so I'll just change that duration to, let's just say 30 seconds. And I will play this again. And there you go, we have that effect. Okay, so now we understand about the effects and stuff. Then we're gonna look at one more thing before I'm gonna go and show you some projects or slides that I've built, and I'll show you how I built those. Now we're gonna go to shapes and we're gonna draw some lines. Now I'm gonna draw a line here. Okay, and that's about it. Next we are going to go to format, and I'm going to select this line. And we are going to change some strokes here. So we have a line stroke. Endpoint is going to be this one, and maybe that's going to be endpoint, and that's going to be a starting point. We change the size to a little bit thicker. Okay, so sometimes in your slides you want to make sure that you draw something on things like arrows and stuff, and point out a few things. You can do that very easily. Draw a line, and then go to animate, and then go to build in, and then click on a line draw. That's a special effect just for this line draw. Once you do that, as you can see, the effect will increase the duration here. So I'll do 3 seconds, click on preview, and you can see how cool is the animation. Okay, now you can do that. Now the good part about this line animation or line building effect, you can build something like, if I will bring something in, let's just say one slide, I will actually build this slide. Okay, now here is a slide. Okay, very simple text-based slides. For example, I would like to explain a few things here. So what I'll do, I will go to basic and I will create on this arrow. This is like a line as well. So we'll format this to a bit thicker. we'll change the color to something like this, orange. We'll have some shadow here, okay, and I'm going to decrease the size. Now, for example, in the slide I'm talking about this. For example, here I want this to be built. We go to animate, I click on add effect and click on line draw. Now this effect is going to happen when I click on. Now I talk about a variable is like a container where a single data value can be stored. That's fine. Now I would like to talk about this part of the slide. So how do I move this arrow and how do I move the attention of a viewer to this part of the slide? Well, we can do that with actions. Click on add effect and click on move. Now that will basically will move this to this part. And I can even do some crazy arc based animation here. Next, I want this to be moving to something here, assignment operator. Okay, click on this button and click on move, and then move this wherever you want this to be on that on the slide, and with the click. So click again, move, and then move this here. So I can change some, animations here like that. Then I can click on move and then go here and then move again and move this here. Okay, these are the actions happening here. Next, we're gonna do a last move, which will be like flip. Then we'll have another one, a pop. Okay, then we'll do a bit of move here as well. We'll take it to here. Alright, now all of these are done. Now I can talk about this slide, and I press the space bar or click, and this will move to the next one. Let's take a look at a build order. So build order is basically going to show you all the events that's going to happen, all the animation events that's going to happen on this slide. So it says the first one is a line draw, then a move, 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 and then here we have a flip, here we have a pop, and then here again we have a move. Let's visualize this. Click on play button, and now I'm going to press spacebar. And let's just say, for example, I will talk about this. A variable is like a container, blah, 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 blah. And then the next one is going to be this. Arrow is going to move here, and the viewer is going to focus on this part of the slide now. The attention moves from a variable is like a container from this box variable. So as you can see, this is a great way to present things and explain things to people. So I press spacebar, it goes to the next one. Also, if you have a multiple screens, you can see the next event on your left monitor or right monitor. Here we have a flip, a pop, and then it goes to type, and that's where it finishes. Now you can see the line draw is a great way to draw your line and move things around. So it's great. Now we are going to look at few slides that I built, and I will explain how I build those effects. So yeah, let's go and take a look at those projects. Okay, so this is one of the slides that I built for my Angular course, which is available on Udemy. Let's visualize it. So I'm going to click on play button, and it has some effect. Then we have this effect, and that kind of effect now. And then we have something like a picture and then move in. Now you see this effect here. Okay, so it looks nice, right? We have arrows going on. We have these nice images popping up. Then we talk about next, and then things goes on. This is very good animation for your slides. That's one sample. Next we have this kind of this is simple text, but we'll talk about this one now. So here I've created this sample where all the text gets written, and then we have an arrow. Arrow moves to the different parts of the application to explain the concepts. As you can see here, that goes there. So you can see you can build pretty advanced animated presentation. So how do I build this? First, let's take a look at this one. Now this has lots and lots of animation. So we go to the build, and I'm going to click on build order. Now you can see in the build order, we are creating a rectangle first. So here we have all the rectangles, and if I click on this one and click on this one, it says build with number 1. So all of these are getting built with number 1. This is why we have this kind of effect. So it basically builds up with number 1. We have this kind of effect, and then we draw a line. It's just a line that gets drawn, and then we have a text with the typewriter effect here, and then the text. Okay, then we have another line draw, and then all of this is basically a text, and then it just automatically happens. We have an image coming up, we have line draw, and then the blur, and then the line draw, and then the blur image. So let's take a look at this one. So it draws the line, it writes out the typewriter, it draws another line, it blurs out the image, now draw another line, then it blurs out, and then it draws a line and then blurs out. So as you can see how I created this animation. Next one is something like similar, that you draw things. All of these are lines. That's just a text, that's an image, and this is a line as well with the move effect. Okay, that's one sample. Now take a look at other project that I created. Okay, this looks a lot of complication here, but this presentation is pretty cool to explain things. It's a bit messy, but let's take a look at. Okay, I'm going to click on a play button to play this first. So I press spacebar. We have module A, module B, module C. Then we get other modules, and we get the lines getting drawn. Okay, then we have app module, and then the service 2. Then we can see the line there. We have a line here, and then the animation, and then we would like to explain a few things. So it says inject service in component. It's like Angular stuff, but you can see what I'm doing here. One by one, I explain stuff and I present them. Okay, and this way, a student or anybody watching your presentation, it's really nice. It's really nice. Okay, I would really recommend trying hard to create this kind of a animation with this. So this is a bit complicated. If you take a look at the build order, that's lots and lots of build order. It took me about, I don't know, 2 hours to build this. So first of all, we have 3 modules which are basically getting built with number 1. So if I just select C, it says build with 1, and then this one is build with 1. This is how we get 3 modules at the same time. Let's preview it. So we got 3 modules. Okay, then we have everything together. So it says build with number 4. So that's with 4, that's with 4. So you can see at the same time there's a 5 lines getting drawn, and number 4 is here. So which one is this? Let's play this, and there we go. Okay, so one of them component is here, this one I guess, and then all of them start at the same time. So here I've done the line drawn here. So if I click on this, this gets selected. Then we create an app module here, that's compress effect, and then both together I guess. Then we draw a line, new instance, you know, everything is depending on the space bar. So here, inject the service typewriter. So I know exactly what next coming up, so I could talk about it. Then I create a separate, you know, element with a couple of effects there. So you can see it's a long project that you can build with this. Let's close this. Now this is one example how complicated you can go with it. Let's take a look at the next one. Take a look at this one. This is like a Skillshare or Udemy Angular course intro that I created. So the first one is fairly simple. We'll just click on this preview button. It just flops out. I would like to go and play this actually for you guys if you want to see. Now that's the effect that I created. And then next slide. So what I did was click on this and go to animate. And here we have an anvil effect. Okay. And then if we look at the build order, we create 2 events and then 1 image anvil, and then this one wipe. So it's doing with the same time with the build 1. Okay, the next one is simple as well. You've seen a lot complicated, and then this one is very simple as well. Next one I'm going to show you is this one. So here basically it's an image coming from Shapes. If we take a look at, for example, calendar, here you go. This is the one that I used. This one actually, calendar. And then I drawn a few things on it. It's a new release. Okay, that was a nice effect, by the way. Like I show you how it looks like. So that's the calendar coming in. Then we have this version where I talk about versions of Angular, and then we have 2 releases. So there's 12 months. So where you know you get the release, it's just to show you guys. Now this effect is pretty cool as well. I'll just play this for you guys. So the first header, then we have a calendar coming in, and then we have like a workshop, project, workshop, and then covers the 12 months here. And then we have something like membership model, and then this, and then that. So this is, you know, you can go and create these animation presentation using Keynote, and whatever we've learned so far, it covers everything. The last thing is a document where basically you can change the slide and presentation types and stuff. Explore and you will get there. The creativity is, I can't really give you how to create things. I've just shown you how to use these tools to implement your imagination or your creativity. You can do that by following these things, these commands actually, or I would say Keynote. So yeah, I hope you liked the video. Please do share this video, subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.